Break, any station come in.
Yung breaker po, go ahead. 11 call sign, sir.
Thank you, sir. This is 4H1 EMQ po. This is EMQ from Amadeo Station, over.
Roger that. Acknowledge. This is Alpha Lima, Cavite Station on the mobile.
Thank you, sir. Sir, can you give me update lang sa location mo, weather and working condition mo?
Roger that. Acknowledge. So now, ako po ay on mobile, stationary mobile here in Cavite City Public Market. And then, sa ngayon, sobrang init po ng ating weather condition ngayon dito. Napakataas ng humidity level. And working condition ko po is Motorola GM300 with power output of 45 watts. And then, super gainer antenna. Over.
Yon. Kamusta na po kayo dyan mga ka-Tri Nation? Kamusta na po kayo? Hello po uli. Ayan. Pasensya na po kayo. Medyo may konting challenge lang po yung ating internet connection. Ayan. I don't know pero ewan ko ba, ganun yata talaga these days, no? Ayan, medyo challenging talaga. So, ito na naman po ang inyong lingkod, si BB1 ng Try to Contact. Ayan. So, kamusta na po kayo dyan sa inyong mga 2-0, mga ka-Tri Nation? Ayan, kita nyo naman, meron tayong background music ngayon, ano? Ayan, nag-i-improve na yung ating mga content. At kita nyo naman, wala, ayan, bago yung ating banner for this episodes. Ayan, so, huwag nyo kong kakalimutan, Try to Contact every Thursday, 5 p.m. Ayan, hindi, opening pa lang, easy. Ayan, so ano po ba yung mga pag-uusapan natin ngayon? Well, syempre, nandito na naman po tayo sa ating nosebleed section. Ayan, ng ating si Sir W3ZQZ. Ayan, later po ay maririnig natin yung kanyang Train from A to Z by ZQZ. Ayan, so exciting po, di ba? At syempre, huwag niyong kalilimutan yung nosebleed tissue. Ayan. Anyway, ayan. So, nung nakaraang linggo po, nakita niyo naman, nag-DIY to try tayo. DIY to try ng ham radio ni Sir YBX. Ayan. So, ang ganda nung kanyang ginawang antena, no? Kaya naman sa susunod, ayan, yan na naman din po yung kanyang gagawin. At si YBY sa kanyang mga tips, ayan, dun sa mga radio. So, syempre, dakuha na po natin kagad si Sir W3ZQZ. Ayan, so syempre, kailangan medyo mag-English na tayo ng konti. Kasi nandiyan na po siya. I think, can you put your thumbs up, Sir ZQZ, if you're okay? Can I see a thumbs up? Yes, all right. Okay, so yan po, no? So, siyempre, lagyan lang po natin siya ng intro muna bago natin tawagin. Before we call on our very own W3ZQ, of course, we have some intro.
All right, what an intro there. And having a little bit of, still hear something in the background there, internet trouble. Well, let's jump right in to our program here. And wanted to discuss, just finish up for last week on our dipoles. But instead of single band dipoles, what we're going to do is discuss a little bit about multi-band dipoles. But just to go back just to the basics here, let's just step back just a little bit. And just if we can just put up a simple diagram here of how the dipole works, what actually happens on the receiving end, and maybe we can put that up there. And I was hoping that we would have some kind of a moving diagram. That's what I sent before. But basically, as we see, the antenna consists of two metal rods, generally speaking, or wires. As you see, the electric field, the green arrows right there are uh, the incoming wave pushes the electrons and the rods back and forth. And let's put that back up again so we can just take a look at that. Uh, that and so we can visualize that. And what happens is basically there we go. When what happens is we have the field that is charging alternately positive and negative, and since the length of the antenna is one half wavelength, one half of the wavelength of the wave, the oscillating field induces what we call standing waves of voltage. And you can see that again by the red band right there, is these standing waves. And so the oscillating currents flow down the transmission line and through the receiver, again, representing the resistance. So we have these standing waves, and it kind of can help you visualize what happens again with the dipole. Now, we want to keep that up because, again, and with radio and telecommunications, a dipole antenna is the simplest, most widely used antenna. And of course, here, when we look at this, it has some advantages over the monopole as well. And so one of the simplest forms of this antenna is the rabbit ears. Let's put that up right there. Now, you might be saying, what in the world is he putting this up? But maybe some of us over a certain age will remember this. The rabbit ear antenna, if you remember what you used to put on top of the antenna. I'm waiting for Joey to put that up. But what will happen is naturally, that is the simplest form of a dipole antenna. And we used to call those bunny ears back in the day. Probably someone under 20 might look at that and say, what is that? But we all remember, most of us remember that. Now, of course, we used to adjust the antenna there, the both ears of the antenna. And what happened is that when you're watching TV, it's a certain channel, but actually what it is a group of frequencies here. And for that given frequency, TV frequency, there was a wavelength. And that wavelength, of course, again, varies along the band. So when we look at the rabbit ears, they would adjust from, let's say, a half a meter to 1.5 meters. That was a quarter wavelength each side, or both rabbit ears will equal a half wavelength of the TV frequency. And again, so that's what in effect you would be doing. You would be adjusting so you can effectively catch that frequency or wavelength. And usually a quarter wavelength there, 75 megahertz, channels 3, 4, or 6, or whatever the case may be. So just keep that in mind, that the adjustment of the rabbit ears for any given frequency. Now, again, the simplest dipole that we have, again, consists of two conductors. But since, let's jump up to the shortwave frequencies here. Now, since we can't adjust get out and adjust the wires out on a dipole, What we can do is something called a fan dipole, a multi-dipole per se. And multi-dipole is just something, a variance of I'm getting mixed up here. The multi-dipole, the fan dipole is a form of the multi-dipole. So let's take a look at that first. Let's take a look. And so what happens is that if you want to transmit on different bands here, uh, this is a way for you to do it. Instead of a single band, you have multi-band. Now we want to zoom in on that a little more. And so as we look in at L1 right here, that could be, let's say, the 40-meter band. If we look at L2, that could be the 20-meter band, 14 megahertz. L3 could be 21 megahertz and so forth. And each of those legs right there are precisely tuned for that frequency. And that's how that works. So using the antenna around that frequency is advantageous in terms of impedance, in terms of standing wave ratio, and so forth. You can compare it to just like a guitar string that is plucked. It tunes, it radiates at a certain frequency. So if you can compare it to that, that's what you have. Let's look at another form of multi-band fan dipoles that we have. And we have various forms so you can get the picture. And again, if you want to transmit at more than one given frequency, there's another variance of that. And so you kind of get the picture of how the fan dipole works. So since we can't get out and like those rabbit ears and adjust the length of the antenna, each of those there resonate at a specific frequency when you transmit at that band. Now, there's other forms of multi-band antennas that we will perhaps get into later, but that's a simplest form as well. And I think we have one more picture here that we can do to visualize the multi-band dipole, or, well, as some put it, fan dipole, an actual pic that someone built. So we can see here's individual that build. Obviously, here we're looking at that. That's at 3 different bands that fan dipole works, and relatively efficiently. Each of those wires radiate, or they resonate, excuse me, at a specific band or frequency for maximum efficiency, for maximum power output. So that's an option for you to go if you want to consider multi-band transmission as well in the HF. And that's about it here. And we'll just go over, I just want to just touch on, multi-band dipoles can be a little bit unattractive, and if you don't have the room for that. So what's more convenient here is the in-fed dipole, and we'll discuss more about that here, where you just have a coax or twin lead feeder that goes to an RF transformer, and a given length here of maybe number 14 or 12 wire. One end is 50, another's 3 to 5,000 ohm, and that's why you have this like matching transformer. But basically, in simple terms, it can be used for multi-band use here. So we're looking at, I think it's 1:9 ratio of a transformer, or some people actually do 1:49. And we'll touch a little bit on that later on. And so that's also a type of simple multi-band antenna, and that's there are your options. I just said I was going to do in-fed options here as well, and just touch on that, and that's it. So again, I just want to say 73s here, and as we know, you never know until you try. Until next time.
Yun. Yan. Naririnig niyo pa ba ako, mga ka-Tri Nation? Yan, meron lang pong konting challenge sa ating internet. Ayun na nga ang sinasabi ko. Ayan. So, hopefully po ay nakinabang tayo ng mahusay doon sa kanyang Training 101 o yung kanyang train from A to Z by CQC. Ayan. So, thank you very much again, Sir W3ZQZ, for that wonderful insight of dipole antennas. Ayan. So, iba-iba pala, no? May fly-fly pa pala yung antenna na yan, ano? Ayan. So, marami na naman po tayong natutunan na a certain length with a certain frequency with that antennas. Ayan. So, pwede na siguro tayo mag-Tagalog. Wala na akong tissue. Last na to, eh. Ayan. Again, thank you very much, Sir W3ZQZ, for that wonderful insight. Ano? Ayan. So, next week po ulit, mga kababayan at mga ka-Tri Nation, abangan po muli natin yung ating mga, sabi nga ay in-house. Ayan. So, yun na nga, nagkakaroon tayo ng konting difficulties po sa ating Ginternet. Ayan. Anyway, wag po kayong alis at kami ay babalik.
Hello mga ka-Tri.
So welcome back mga ka-Tri. Magandang hapon mga ka-Tri.
Good morning mga ka-Tri.
What's up mga ka-Tri?
Hello mga ka-Tri.
Magandang gabi sa inyo mga ka-Tri.
Hello mga ka-Tri. Hello po mga ka-Tri.
Hey mga ka-Tri.
Magandang hapon po muli, mga ka-Tri Nation.
Good morning mga ka-Tri.
Umaga po sa inyo dito sa programa niyo sa Tri-PH.
Magandang hapon sa ating lahat mga ka-Tri.
Uy, magandang araw din sa inyo mga ka-Tri.
Yes, magandang umaga sa ating mga taga-subaybay nitong ating bagong programa, Tri-PH. Napakaganda nito.
Magandang hapon po sa inyo, Tri-PH Media.
Okay, maraming salamat din sa inyo sa pribilehyo makasama sa inyo.
Happy hapon sa inyong lahat mga ka-Tri.
Happy hapon mga ka-Tri!
How far
And how high
This high.
Never know.
you will 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 never know.
So you'll never know. You will never know. You will never know. You'll never know. Never know.
Never know.
You'll never know.
You'll never know.
Ayun, mga ka-Try Nation, nagbabalik po muli tayo dito sa ating Try to Contact. Ayan, ikaw ba isang vlogger? At malupit ba ang iyong mga binablog? O may kilala ka ba? I-check nyo na po ang ating Facebook page, TryPH Media, or website para malaman ninyo kung paano kayo magiging isang advocacy contributor at i-feature ng TryPH ang inyong mga vlog. Ayan. Kaya huwag niyo pong ikalimutang i-like, i-share at i-subscribe sa ating TryPH Media Facebook page at sa ating YouTube channel. Ayan. At syempre, dyan na naman po nagtatapos yung ating segment ngayon. Ano? At meron tayong konting internet challenge pero hopefully po ay naririnig niyo po ako. Ano? Ayan. Ayan. So, yun na naman po. No? At syempre, kailangan po nating pasalamatan yung ating mga advocacy partner. Ayan, sila po yung mga patuloy na sumusuporta sa advokasya ng TryPH Media through their contribution and by promoting our website and social media site. Ayan, sino-sino po ba sila? Siyempre, andyan po yung ating mga advocacy partner, ang Platinum, ang Ralph Consulting, we support to keep you going. Ang Tagaytay Guide, ang RJ Brom Consulting Service, ang ATI Calabarzon, ang JRM Consulting at ang HAS Homeschool as a Service. Ating mga gold partner naman po ay ang The Happy Giving Trading Company, ang Bernard Supetran Media and Promotion Consultant, ang masarap na Bon Happy Tea at ang masarap ding Pau de Oro. Yan po at ang ating mga silver partners naman po, ang Life Extension Philippines, The Science of a Healthier Life, Stay Healthy, Live Better, ang LMP Auto Care, ang SafeTech.ph, your safety is our priority. At syempre, nandyan din po ang The Purple Whisk at ang masarap na bakery at ang RDY Marine Electronics. At syempre, ang paborito kong La Homa Funeral Homes. We honor the lives of your loved ones. Yan. So, dito na naman po nagtatapos ang isa na naman pong napakagandang segment. Yan, naway marami po kayong natutunan at maitatry natin, ano? Diyan sa ating mga 20s. So, sabi nga ay mga 2-0. Ayan. Kaya, basahin lang po natin yung mga comments, ano? Bago tayo magtapos. Ayan. Sana nag-click kayo. Ayan. Lumabas na. Yun na! Hello! Ayan. So, nandiyan po si Sir Ralph. Ayan. Si Professor Ralph Balmaceda. Thank you, BB1 ng ZQZ. This is EMQ. Ayan. Hello po sa iyo, Sir EMQ. Kamusta na po kayo dyan sa inyong 2-0? At syempre, nandun din po si Sir Jetro Reyes Mangalyag. Sir BB1, loaded ang virtual background Oo nga, medyo loaded na nga. Kaya nga, i-remove na natin para hindi na tayo ma-load. Ayan. Okay, so nandiyan din po si Elena. Sir BB1, parang ang tagal na nating di nagkikita. Yun na nga, magkita naman tayo, kapatang Elena. Parang kakikita lang natin kahapon sa show mo. Ayun. So, ito na naman po ang inyong lingkod, si BB1 ng Try to Contact. At muli, maraming salamat po kay Sir James W3ZQZ. Kaya ganyan din po naman sa inyo, no? Ayan, maraming salamat po mga ka-Try Nation sa inyong walang sawang pagsubaybay dito sa ating segment. At patuloy na pagsuporta po ninyo. Kaya see you again po next Thursday at 5 p.m. Ayan, so sa susunod naman po mga weeks, ay makikita naman natin si YBX at si YBY. Kaya ito na naman po ang inyong lingkod, si B1, na nagsasabing, you'll never know unless you try. Over and out.
Break, any station come in.
Yung breaker po, go ahead. 11 call sign, sir.
Thank you, sir. This is 4H1 EMQ po. This is EMQ from Amadeo Station, over.
Roger that. Acknowledge. This is Alpha Lima, Cavite Station on the mobile.
Thank you, sir. Sir, can you give me update lang sa location mo, weather, and working condition mo?
Roger that. Acknowledge. So now, ako po ay on mobile, stationary mobile here in Cavite City Public Market. And then, sa ngayon, sobrang init po ng ating weather condition ngayon dito. Napakataas ng humidity level. And working condition ko po is Motorola GM300 with power output of 45 watts and then super gainer antenna. Over.